So hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. So today I'm going to be doing a review of the latest Tyler Perry movie. It's called A Fall from Grace. You can find it on Netflix. But the reason why I'm going to be talking about this particular movie is because the central theme around this movie was about red flags. And so I'm going to be giving you 10 tips of some red flags to make sure that you can pay attention to, especially in relationships. You can kind of transfer this over into other relationships as well, but these are just 10 little tips that I think that would help us to keep in mind whenever we're in relationships, because sometimes we can blind ourselves from the truth a lot of the time. So a bit about this movie. This movie is about a woman who had basically, she's going through a trial, she's going through a murder trial, but then there was her defender actually realized actually there's something a bit different about this case, because they were trying to make her take a plea deal, and the defendant who was actually doing her plea deal was like, no, there's something different about you, you're not like normal murderers or whatever, there's something about you, you didn't do this, something more happened, can you tell me what happened? So the whole movie is basically going through the journey of what actually happened to her. And basically what had happened is that she had opened her heart up to someone that she loved. Now, a bit of backstory about this person is that she had actually come from a divorce. I can't remember exactly what happened. If I think her husband had cheated on her, and she found her she found the person, she basically found them cheating, and it was quite damaging for her. So she then found this new guy, fell in love, then got married really really quickly. You know how he presented himself was almost like, yes, I'm Prince Charming coming to, you know, save you, you know, from all of the ain't shit men that's been before you. Like, I am. It's almost like it had like this almost messianic type approach, which oftentimes a lot of us women, we get lost into this whole, you know, oh my gosh, like he's different, when really he could very much be the same. And it's not to say that this is the type of mindset we should have towards every relationship, because not everyone is the same, but there are some things that we definitely need to pay attention to. And so she was already extremely vulnerable, and basically what happened is that she did, well, I still need to understand if she did actually kill him or not. I think no, she did hit him with a bat, but then yeah, something happened at the end. I'll let you guys watch that to really figure that out. But she the reason why she did that is because this guy, and I even though the critics will probably eat up this movie, but I do like the storyline and the way that they did this, because you really could put yourself in her shoes to be like, no, I would kill this guy too. Stole money from your business, basically tried to discredit you, cheating in front of you, like, you know, and doesn't give a shit. Like, it was wild. I'll let you guys actually watch the movie to find out what actually happened. But the reason why this is important is that there were so many red flags, subtle red flags, you know, but we overlook like a lot of things because we just allow our hearts to get lost in this story, or this story of our ideals, when we feel like it's playing out. And you know, first of all, things move really really fast, and no, you need to be able to understand and know who is the person that I'm actually engaging with. If you don't know that person, then it can be quite dangerous, you engaging with someone that you don't actually know. Like, they could be a psychopath for all you know. And I guess one of the main things that really stood out to me, because I could really relate to her story, and it because she allowed a lot to slide, you know, a lot to slide. And it was like, at what point are you going to stand up for yourself? And I think that's important, because a lot of the times, especially those that have been taken advantage of by a lot of people and gone through a continual cycle of abuse, you continually allow yourself to let this continue to play out in different relationships, in the same relationships, and it's often hard to break that cycle. And one of the things that came to me when I was watching this is like, at what point are you going to stand up for yourself? At what point are you going to say enough is enough? And that's what brought her, or pushed her, to kill this guy. Or I don't know if she killed him, but whatever she did to him. But you know, it that was her actually standing up for herself, and that's actually what made her innocent in the end. But I'm gonna be, as I said, I want to highlight a few red flags that you definitely want to pay attention to, because when we're in love, we blind ourselves so much, we hold ourselves to so much illusions, and it's time that we definitely pay attention to these things in 2020 and going forward. So one of the first things is lack of communication. So if you find that this person finds it difficult to talk about their issues or express how they feel, or they often distance themselves emotionally and they can't actually, you know, come to you for anything, drastic changes of moods, silent treatment, all of these different types of things, if they can't actually effectively bring themselves to have have effective communication, that is the first red flag that you definitely need to pay attention to, and you need to deal with accordingly. The second one is their behavior. If you find that they're extremely irresponsible, or extremely immature, or extremely unpredictable, that's something you do need to pay attention to. Now, it's not to say that in every red flag you need to act immediately on the first one, but definitely pay attention. And sometimes we do need to act on the first red flag, because sometimes we allow 10, 20, 30, 50, 60 red flags pass before we actually say enough is enough, something's going on here, you're not okay, you're toxic, I need to cut these ties. So definitely pay attention to that person, if they can master basic life skills, if they're able to take care of themselves, if they're able to take care of their finances, their personal space, their personal hygiene, their personal health, if they're able to hold on to a job, if they're able to make plans and make goals and hit those goals, or are they someone who just speaks about it and just allows it to just go on. What type of ambition do they have? Do they have ambition, or are they just comfortable with things just playing out as they are? How do their ability to manage their emotions, their self-management, what they do day to day, how they get about, like, not in terms of practically in terms of if they have a car, but just what are they doing? Like, what are you actually doing? Like, do you know what they do? Can they speak about what job they do? You know, that's another thing. So if you can rely on them, if you can depend on them, because you want to make sure that the person that you're with is stable. You don't want to like have to fear that person's gonna remove a rug from underneath your feet at the most unpredictable moment and worst moment possible, because they don't know how to manage themselves. So that's something you need to pay attention to too. Number 3, can you trust this person? Does this person have the ability to be honest with themselves? Can they be honest with you? Are they constantly having to lie or cover up something? Their behavior, do you find that they're almost very calculated in their actions? Everything is very calculated, malicious, manipulative. Sometimes these are learned habits, and a lot of these things come from childhood as well. So it's not, these things a lot of us may have aspects of these traits, but it's what are you doing with it? Like, are you aware of these traits, and are you actually doing something about it to make sure that you can actually overcome this? Or are you aware, like, even if someone who has to be secretive and always hide away their secrets and not be honest, like, why do you feel the need to constantly have to do that? Like, is why can you not tell the truth? So it's like, if you're aware of that and you're now, okay, I'm now changing that aspect of myself because I know, okay, this is a toxic trait of mine, and you're working through that, okay, I can see with you because you're working through that. No one's perfect. But if you're just constantly in a cycle of continually doing the same thing, that is a red flag. And I have to be able to question if I want you to be in my life or not. And you need to be able to question if you would want these people to be in your life, because what if this is the type of, if this is their type of behavior, then what are they capable of doing? You do sometimes, if they're unpredictable, you don't even know what they're capable of doing. So you now set yourself in a place where you're now subject to that person's unpredictability. I don't want to live my life like that. I don't know about you, so I need to pay attention to those red flags too. Their integrity. Do they have integrity? Do they have respect for themselves? Do they have respect for you? All of these things are things that you need to pay attention to. Number 4. This is an interesting one. Significant friends and family members that may not like your partner. Now, sometimes there are some nosy family members and friends, and sometimes they're jealous, and sometimes they're all of the things that is just like, okay, can you just get over this and be happy for me? Yes, sometimes there are those types of people, but not all the time. And sometimes we need to be able to acknowledge when we can be defensive in our deals. You know, when someone comes and approaches you and say, actually, this person, I noticed this about them, you need to pay attention to that red flag. Sometimes we need to pay attention to our friends and families that are trying to warn us, you know, because they are the eyes, our back eyes. Sometimes we can't see everything because our heart often is too locked into something. So sometimes we need to be able to pay attention to where someone is saying something's a bit off. And even when they can notice the changes in you, because sometimes you don't notice the change in you until too late. You notice, okay, I'm not dressing the same way because my partner's insecure of the way that I dress, or I'm not going to where I need to go to. I used to go to the gym a lot of the time, and now I'm not. And I've noticed this has been since I've been in a relationship with this person or whatever. Our friends can notice these things quicker than we can notice these things ourselves. So sometimes we do need to be able to allow ourselves to be open to the criticism of our loved ones, depending on who they are. Because some, again, like not all of our loved ones have our best interest in heart. Sometimes they have their interest at heart. This is what they would like for you, and that's not often right. But this is where discernment comes in. You need to be able to discern, are people coming to you for your highest good, or are they not? So that's down to you. The 5th one is controlling behavior. Sometimes it's a very, very divide and conquer type behavior. Sometimes they may be jealous of some relationships that you may have. They may not like you to be around with certain friends, even particularly same sex. And I know that sometimes it can be a very sensitive subject, because some people believe, okay, my partner can't have any of the same sex friends. What is that? And I think that's quite toxic, because at the end of the day, you should be able to have friends of any sex, and that probably brings up a lot of insecurity and trust issues that are in the foundation of the relationship. But You need to be able to, you shouldn't feel like you're being controlled by your partner. You should feel like you should still have an element of freedom about yourself. You know, even with me in my relationship, my partner has a lot of female friends, and that's okay. You know, because there's an element of trust that we have in our relationship, that I know that these are his friends. They were his friends before we got together, and now they're his friends now, so there's no difference. So the same with me. I have a lot of male friends, and these were my friends before we were together. They're still my friends now, and that's all it is. And you know, there's no animosity, there's no insecurity. It just is what it is, and that's a healthy place that you want to be able to feel. You should never feel that you're being controlled by your partner, being controlled what you need to wear, but being controlled where you need to go, who you can speak to, you know, what you can eat. That is not okay. That's a massive red flag that you need to pay attention to. Even when you can spend your money, because financial abuse is another thing as well. But number 6, and I mentioned this before, like about insecurities. Maybe that person always is insecure of where they stand in a relationship, always needing some sort of assurance. And again, this can go both ways, because maybe there's no clarity that's been provided by the other person, so it's created a lot of anxiety. But a lot of that can again feed into a lot of insecurity issues and codependency. You know, I can't live without you, I need you here. So that can be very telling of a lot of things. So definitely pay attention to that, because you don't want to feel like you're becoming the savior for someone else. You know, that whole damsel in distress complex. That's something that a lot of us need to begin to release, because it's not healthy for us. Number 7, a dark or secretive past. Sorry. If you find that their behaviors are really suspect, like there's a lot, you don't really know what they do, you don't know their past, you don't know their family, you don't know their friends, you don't know anything. Like they do a lot to be able to hide a lot about their reality. Like, you should be wanting to ask these questions, and there be an open response as to that answer. Like, you need to know who this person is. Like, just by remember, whenever we meet people, we're always expressing the best parts of ourselves. So oftentimes it takes years for you to really know the truth of a person. So you need to be knowing that you need to be answering the right questions and making sure that you're getting the right answers. And yeah, definitely pay attention to the sketchiness and the secretiveness. Number 8, non-resolution of past relationships. So I'm sure a lot of you know the whole baby mama drama, baby father drama, you know. Or maybe a lot of those relationships are not finished, so there's still, maybe that person's still holding on to certain pains that their ex had done. Your heart's still there. That's a red flag, because it means that you're only really allowing this person to kind of step into place because that person, your ex, is not actually there. Need to be real with yourself of what you actually want, who you actually want. And are you real? Yeah, be real with your heart. Because and even if that person, pay attention to it, how that person is able to evaluate and debrief their last relationship, and pay attention to how they speak of the narrative. And remember, there's always 2 sides of the story. So someone can literally be like, oh, my ex, like, she was this, and or he was a that, and it's like, okay, well, what part did you play in that? Because you was in a relationship, you wasn't in a relationship by yourself. So what part did you play in that? Are they able to speak about things from both perspectives, like not only putting the blame on someone else, because that definitely accounts to if that person can actually be accountable for their own flaws, or it basically shows how narcissistic that person is, basically. So number 9, the relationship being built on the need to feel needed. Now, oftentimes we go into relationships to, you know, have our needs fulfilled, and a lot of the time our needs are fueled by our own insecurities that I was mentioning earlier. And if you find that that person, like, without you, like, they are not happy, without you, they are not able to eat, without you, that is a major red flag. You know, that's a major red flag, because only toxicity can be birthed from that. So, you know, you definitely want to pay attention if that is the main dynamic of the relationship. How individual can you be in your relationship? Can you make yourself happy? What do you have going for yourself? Like, do you have your own routines? Do you have your own friends circle that you have, like, or are you just waiting for someone else to come with their own world, and so that you can go into their own world and not actually have your own? Like, it's a bit cheating. So definitely pay attention to that. Now, number 10, abusive behavior. Now, abusive behavior can come in many different forms. It can come in verbal forms. It can come in emotional forms. It can come in psychological forms. It can come in physical forms. It can come in financial forms. So even, especially financially, you know, a guy could literally be like, okay, I'm going to take care of all of your needs. You don't need to spend any money or whatever. Then that can literally become a thing where they become very controlling over what you're spending with their money, because it's not yours, it's theirs. So really, they can tell you what you can do and what you can't do. So there's so many ways of how abuse can play out. Emotional abuse, you know, making you feel a certain way just so that you can actually do something. You know, there's a lot of sexual abuse. There's many different ways of how abuse actually plays out. And I'll probably do another video about that more in depth, because this one's going to be too long. That will just go into the different types of abuse so we can actually identify it for itself. Because a lot, especially in Black families, we don't realize a lot of the toxicity that is in our family, because it's not actually been exposed. So a lot of the emotional and psychological abuse won't really be acknowledged, because you'd only be looking for the physical abuse or the sexual abuse, when there's so many ways to how abuse can play out. So I'm definitely going to do a video on that at another time. But I'm hoping that this video was informative for you. Again, make sure that you check out The Fall from Grace on Netflix. You can find it on Netflix now. It's by Tyler Perry. If you like this video, remember to like the video. Remember to subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already. And remember, comment below, like, let me know if you did watch the movie. What was your thoughts on the movie? What is it that came up to you? And if, like, with regards to red flags, like, how many times, like, what's your relationship to, you know, with red flags? Are you the type of person that when you see a red flag you act instantly, or are you the type of person that ends up in a cycle for a very long time because you've allowed many red flags to go and you haven't paid attention? What type of person are you? So let me know below. Remember, you can also book your sessions, your readings, your astrological readings and sessions. I'm still doing the year ahead readings. I also have the transit forecast, your natal chart readings. You can check out all the different readings that I do on my website on www.soul-reconnection.com. And also I will be making a big announcement with regards to my conference and retreat that I will be having towards the end of this year. And so this is an invitation out to, of course, those that are in the UK, but those, as I know, have a very vast international audience. This is going to be an invitation for you guys to be able to come down as well, and working alongside a private travel agent as well, so we can make sure that we can sort out some amazing deals for you to be able to get down as well. It's going to be the True Self Project, so definitely watch this space for when I do announce more information about that, as it's going to be very exciting and I can't wait to be able to share all this news with you guys. So remember to like, share, subscribe, and I will see you guys on the other side.